Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. You can call me Kai and this is my crafty corner of the internet where I talk about all the things that I get up to. Most of it is cross stitch, and today I've got a special FlossTube episode for you. We are going into my 2025 finish parade. So I'm going to be showing off everything that I either fully finished or finished stitching in over the last year. January 1st will mark the 1 year anniversary of me doing flosstube videos. So I thought this would be a fun way to kind of like cap off the year and just kind of review everything that I've already shown you. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start off with projects that I had stitched in 2024 but fully finished in 2025. I only have 2 of them, but here they are. So first off, I will show you the Plants and Petrichor Stitch Along. This was a stitch along hosted by Fine Frog Stitching, kind of late summer 2024. I don't have exact dates for like when I started or finished because I wasn't recording that information at the time, but I believe I fully finished this in February of this year. Got the hoop, so I finished this up in a hoop, and then fully finished the back with some quilting cotton that I blanket stitched around the back side to protect the back of the stitches. This was stitched on 18 count Mystic Ada by Picture This Plus. It's all fully finished up and hanging up on my wall. The next thing that I fully finished was also done, I also stitched it up at the end of 2024. All right, so this is the Emperor Tarot by Needle-Lot Designs. I stitched this at the end of 2024 and then fully finished it, I think again in February of 2025. This was stitched on 18 count Celestine Ada by Fiber on a Whim. And I did some modifications to the original pattern. The border and the text were supposed to be stitched in black, but I opted to stitch them in blues and golds to match the rest of the pattern better. And now we will get into my stitching finishes for 2025. So I'm going to go through these in chronological order. Some of the finished products I don't physically have anymore because they were gifts and already sent out. So I will input some pictures when I get to those, but starting off, my first finish of the year was the Snow Bear Stocking. This is a kit by Dimensions. I started this on December 12th, 2024, and finished the cross stitching February 28th, 2025, and then it was fully finished over the Jingle Ball December 6th, 2025. So I was able to fully finish it into a stocking before Christmas came. So I stitched this for my now 2-year-old toddler, and I do have her name stitched up here along the collar. I just have it covered for privacy reasons. The stocking is fully finished, and I substituted my own backing fabric and used the same fabric for the lining and the hanger. Just because I thought that finish was going to be much nicer than the way the Dimensions kits say to finish, which is just to maybe interface the back of the stitching and then use felt, just like one piece of felt to do the back, like for the back fabric. I didn't like that, so I followed a tutorial posted by 123 Stitch, and fully finished it up, and it is lined, and my toddler loves it. Finish number 2 was a small hoop finish. This is Mount Fuji by Needleminder Layer. The Sakura Lake version is what I've been calling it because there are many patterns titled Mount Fuji in their shop. I started this on January 16th, 2025 and finished it March 6th, 2025. I stitched it on 18 count Celestine Ada by Fiber on a Whim with DMC colors. I did have a few substitutions. I like to use, sometimes I will use leftover dimensions floss in place of DMC if I think I can get away with it, and I was able to do that on this pattern. Yep, fully finished it in a hoop. The hoop is wrapped with washi tape, and then the back is felt blanket stitched on to protect the back of the stitches, and this just hangs up on my wall as is. And then my next finish is also another small flower, floral piece, and this is Fresh Flowers by Dimensions. This is a kit by Dimensions. I started this on March 13th, 2025 and finished this March 27th, 2025. So I stitched this with all of the included kit materials, so the 14 count white Aida and all of the Dimensions floss. And then, yeah, I just did some very basic lacing on some very thin cardboard and stuck it in a 5x7 photo frame that I think I picked up from Walmart. So, nothing too fancy. I have not yet got this hanging up on my wall, but I've been meaning to. My next project that I finished was this set of farm animal mini magnets. This is a pattern by Crafted Gurumi on Etsy. I stitched this on 14 count white plastic canvas, and I used all of DMC, well, mostly DMC, some dimensions substitutes. The chicken up here was originally charted as blue, but I opted to stitch it with the tan colors that were found in the rabbits. And just because I wanted these to be like a kind of like a play kit for my toddler, and I wanted it to be, the chicken to be like more typical of what you would see on the farm. My mom keeps chickens, and so, you know, I wanted this to look like some of my mom's chickens. So yeah, I stitched up these 3 magnets in March, and then these 3 magnets were finished in April. I officially started the project on March 14th, 2025, and then finished it April 26th, 2025. Yep, these are magnets for my toddler to play with. She likes to move them from our dishwasher to the side of our stove because she has access to both of those things since the front of our fridge is not magnetic. And she's been pretty much playing with them like at least every other week since I've made them. So I'm glad I was able to do this for her. So then this will be finish number 5, is the Secret Grove Stitch Along by Need a Lot Designs. I started this on November 22nd, 2024, and was mostly able to keep up with all of the releases. So I was able to finish it May 13th, 2025. This was stitched on 18 count Mystic Aida by Picture This Plus, and I used all of the called for DMCs. Maybe a few dimension substitutions. Like I said, I liked to just stitch from stash as much as possible, and most of the time I find that the dimensions to DMC conversions are close enough that if I don't run out of the dimensions floss, no one's really gonna know. Yeah, this was a really fun stitch along. I really did enjoy working on it every month. It was nice to have something that was kind of like, so the releases for this came out every 3 weeks. The only other 2 stitch alongs that I've been a part of were weekly releases, which, while fun, was definitely kind of tiring, especially this last stitch along that I did. But this was 3 weeks, every 3 weeks, and the parts were significantly chunkier, but I found that that was a lot of fun for me because I could like really commit and focus on this for about a week, and then it was finished, and then I was caught up, so then I could put it away and focus on some other stitching. But it was, yeah, just a lot of fun. I love Need a Lot Designs patterns, and I'm really, really hoping that there is going to be maybe another stitch along by Need a Lot here in the future, but we'll see what happens. I'll try to bring this in closer so you can see some of the details. it is not fully finished yet, and truthfully, I have no idea how I want to fully finish it, because there was a companion piece to the stitch along that I had to stitch on a separate piece of fabric because I didn't have the room for it on this one. Like, this is a tight enough margin as it is, and trying to squeeze in, like, there was just no way I could squeeze in the rest of that companion piece on here. Finish number 6 is actually a pattern that I designed myself. I was just kind of using this as a chance to practice some design skills and try out some new pixel art techniques and see if it would translate well to cross stitch. So I decided to call this pattern Citrus Splash because it was meant to be a jar of lemonade and some lemons. My color, so I used this as entirely a learning experience. Picking colors is hard, especially yellows, especially pastel yellows. But sometimes you just have to play around and try something new. So I started this project on June 14th, 2025, and finished this on June 20th. And I stitched it on 16 count white Aida that I think I picked up from Walmart. So more than likely like the Charles Craft Aida. Yep, and used pretty much all DMC floss for it. So my next set of finishes were some art fight attacks that I did in July. I started all of them on July 8th. And well, I started stitching them on July 8th, and I finished the last one on July 25th, 2025. I don't have the physical objects here anymore because I'm in the process of sending them out to the recipients, but here they are. So I did 3 separate pieces for Art Fight. I did one plastic canvased keychain, and then one flat finish on 18 count white Aida, and then the other one was done on 18 count self-dyed Aida that I then finished in a hoop. So yeah, those are all of that. And then so this was a lot of fun. So the artwork and the charting were also done by me. They started out as pixel art that I then ran through Floss Cross and made sure my colors actually matched the DMC shades that I had on hand. And it was a lot of fun. And also reminded me why I absolutely love gridding my projects. Because that hand-dyed Aida one, can't tell you how many times I ripped out the outline stitches because I just kept getting off and kept getting off and kept getting off because I didn't actually grid the fabric. My next finish is Bramble the Badger by Needle Lot Designs. This was the companion bonus chart from the Secret Grove Stitch Along. I stitched this on the offcut of the hand-dyed Aida from that one Art Fight project. I stitched this up on started this August 7th and then finished it August 13th. And yeah, used all of the DMC colors, and yep, it was stitched on 18 count navy blue Aida that I had dyed myself. Like I said, I'm still not quite sure how I want to fully finish it because I want to include this in the fully finishing for the main portion of Secret Grove. Like, I want them to be together, but I'm not quite sure how to go about that since they're on 2 different shades of fabric. They are distinctly different kinds of navy blue. So I'm not sure how I want to fully finish them together. I was initially kind of thinking of maybe doing like a bell pull style, or putting it on like a hanger, but I'm not sure how to incorporate bramble onto the Secret Growth fabric. So I'm gonna have to do some tinkering and some sketches and see what I can come up with. So now we are at my proudest finish of the year. You've been following my floss tube, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, but my next finish is the Enchanted Ornaments stocking. This is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. I started this April 7th, 2025, and I didn't finish it until October 7th, 2025. So pretty much 6 months of stitching. And it was a whole saga. Yeah. Those of you who have stuck around know my gripes with this pattern. But yeah, so this was a kit by Dimensions. I stitched this on the 16 count light blue Aida with all of the Dimensions floss. Again, my name is stitched up here, but I'm covering it for privacy because, you know, as I've said multiple times, Kai is not my legal name. It's just a pseudonym I go by online, and I stitched my actual name on the stocking, so I'm covering that up for privacy. But yeah, this is an insanely detailed stocking. The Aida itself was just one plain color, so all of the shading that you see here in the background, like this little you can see it kind of right here really well, that was all stitched. I stitched that. I stitched all of that. Like all those swirls and stuff, yeah. Single strand back or half stitch. So at least it was half stitch and went quick, but like, man, that was a lot. And then a lot of metallic thread too. Don't even get me started on that. But it's finished. It's gorgeous. I'm really pleased with it. It looks so good up on our wall. I finished this the same way I did the Snow Bear stocking. So I substituted in my own backing fabric that I then used for the lining and the hanger, and fully finished this on December 6th at the Jingle Ball. If you were attending the Jingle Ball and were in any of my stitching rooms on Saturday, I was pretty much set up in front of my sewing machine the entire day, but I got them both done and I'm really pleased with that. So, and then my next finish is actually a project that you guys haven't seen, because when I was talking about it in my last floss tube, it was for a Secret Santa event and I had not sent out the package at the time of recording. So I'll go ahead and just kind of insert in a little clip of me talking about that so you guys can see what I was talking about. Hi friends, Past Kai here. Just wanted to record this little bit separate from my regular floss tube because this is a gift for a Secret Santa and I didn't want to showcase it on my channel before they had a chance to receive it, just in case they are watching. So this project is a start and a fully finished object from November 2025. I made up this cute little autumn cat ornament. The pattern is called Autumn Cat Card from the October 2025 issue of World of Cross Stitch magazine. The designer is Maria Diaz, and I finished it up as a little ornament. So I started this on November 16th, 2025 and finished it November 11th. I stitched it on 18 count white Aida and fully finished it with some quilting cotton batik fabric that I had left over from my toddler's quilt, and then a little bit extra embroidery floss to make the hanging hoop. And yeah, so this was stitched up in 5 days. It had a total of 1,096 stitches. And yeah, I stitched this up as part of a Secret Santa gift exchange from one of my Discord servers that I'm in. And yeah, now that I've got this little segment recorded, it's going to get packed up and shipped out today. So just wanted to show this off. And yeah, I will send it back to Present Kai. Bye, friends. And we're back. So yeah, that was, I'm technically calling that project number 10 finished because I counted all of the art bites attacks as one project. And then my last finish for the year was actually done, was actually completed at the Jingle Ball, which was a lot of fun. And it was the Twigs and Tea Stitch Along by Fine Frog Stitching. I started this on August 18th, 2025 and finished it December 5th at the Jingle Ball. It was a lot of fun. That was the last day, or the last part was released that day, and I sat down and I stitched all of it while chatting with people at the Jingle Ball, which was a lot of fun. This is stitched on 18 count Marigold Ada by Dying for Cross Stitch, the light colorway. And I used all of the DMC floss. And I think this is the first time you guys are seeing it fully finished, because obviously my last floss tube would have covered just November stitching. So yeah, there it is, all stitched up. I'm probably going to frame this because I think it'll fit in an 8x10 frame that I can just pick up from Walmart. I'll have to measure it again and then actually get a frame. But I'll probably just do my usual kind of wishy-washy lacing method and around some thin cardstock, and then put it in the frame. And that's all of my finishes for the year. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the amount of work that I was able to accomplish this year. Other things that you didn't get to see were the fact that I had, I started a giant full coverage piece. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it because I cover it in pretty much all of my floss tubes, but I'm stitching June Blooms by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Margaret Morales. It is a 208,000 stitch project, full coverage. Stitching 1/1 full cross on 25 count pre-gridded Lugana. I started it in April, and I actually managed to get 2-page finishes this year, which is huge. I'm currently sitting at like a little over 17,000 stitches completed on it, and around like an over 8% complete, which is really incredible to think about, considering that like I started that this year. I didn't bring it out for this finish parade because it's technically not finished. It's still a work in progress, but I am really pleased with my progress on that so far. And then I've got another small whip on the go, but this is a finish parade and not a whip parade, which currently I only have those 2 whips, so it wouldn't be a very exciting whip parade either. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm also just now realizing that there's probably going to be quite a few like noob viewers to this video. So this probably should have gone at the beginning, but I'll put it here at the end. If you don't know me, hi, you can call me Kai. I'm currently 32 years old. I'm living in Southeast Iowa, and with my husband and my 2-year-old toddler. I'm a stay-at-home parent and get all of my stitching time done while my toddler sleeps. I don't really have a whole lot else that's going on currently. Other hobbies that I enjoy are sewing and quilting I got into this year. I also am a graphic designer, a digital artist. I don't do a whole lot of that anymore because 2-year-old toddler. But I do try to draw whenever I can, and I've been spending a lot of my time cross-stitching and sewing this year. I'm gonna foresee a lot of that happening next year too. So I don't know, is there anything else my favorite animal is penguins. I love penguins. Penguins are adorable. I have a whole chair full of penguins right over here. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and I guess thank you for sticking around and watching this far. If you are new to my channel and you like the projects that you saw, please consider subscribing and stick around to see what I'm going to get up to next year. I'd like to say that my style kind of bounces back and forth between like full coverage, and I really enjoy stitching dimensions kits. I do a lot of dimensions kits. I also really like supporting smaller independent designers. Every once, like whenever I can work that into my stitchy rotations. I love needleminder layers, patterns. I love needle lot designs. I love fine frog stitching. So like this kind of whimsical, I guess it would be like whimsical animals, I guess is what I stitch a lot of. Just looking at all of my projects. And then but I do enjoy keeping like at least one big project going because I love being able to like sit down and like connect with a piece, and big projects start to feel like old friends after a time, and I love that feeling when I go to stitch a project, that like, yes, I know this project, I know exactly what this is going to feel like when I go stitch it, and I love that. I'm as exciting as like kitting up a new project is, I also love like long-term projects. But one thing that I will say about me is that I do not keep a whole lot of whips ongoing at the same time. Like earlier this year, I had like 4 going at once, and that was too much. I have found that my magic whip number is actually 3 or less. So you will get to see a lot of actual progress on all of my projects. I'm not a serial starter, and I don't do a bunch of tiny smalls. So I like to keep a nice small rotation of things. I always have like one big project and then one small project on the go, and occasionally I'll throw in either a medium size or a stitch along, just to add a little bit of variety to things. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I know the end of this video was a little bit rambly because I didn't have a plan. But thank you so much for sticking around and watching all of it. I think, like I said before, if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing and sticking around for my updates for the next year. I've got some interesting projects lined up, but I will go into those at my next video, which will be recorded on January 1st. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Please take the time to be kind to yourself and do something that you enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Bye friends, happy stitching!